Hi everyone, and welcome to our weekend vlog. Today is July 26th, Friday. So I hope you guys have all had a great week. Richard has worked so hard on that cabin. We're going away to Los Angeles in a couple of weeks, so he really wanted to get the roof on and the door in and things like that before we left. So when we get home, it's going to be finishing it up. So I'm really excited about that. It's just, I walked out there and sat in it with no roof, trying to imagine what it's going to be like to be doing art journaling and stuff from there. I'm so excited, I can't even tell you. This week, oh my goodness. The reason I'm telling you this is because it's really, really funny. Not because I'm talking about my lupus again for the bazillionth time, but that's my life, I guess. On today's Friday, so I'd say maybe Tuesday. I get up like normal, walking around, and all of a sudden I get this horrible pain in my chest, and I can't catch my breath. But I'm like, whatever, whatever. So I continue. Like, we have 2 flights of short steps, so 7 and 7, because it's a 4-level split. So I'm doing the laundry. You've got about 4 loads up and down, and it's just getting worse and worse. And I could not catch my breath. I mean, it was like I was coughing, like I couldn't breathe. So I'm like, I know I'm not that out of shape. Something's going on here. So Richard came home. We were going to go shopping for this little baby gift. But then when we got in the car, it was getting worse. So we said, let's just pop by emergency. Just they can just have a quick look. If it's nothing, we'll carry on shopping, whatever. Because, when you're taking cortisone masks any major symptoms. So you could be having an episode of whatever and not know it. So off we go to the mighty Sturgeon Hospital. So we get there, and her first question, have you ever had a blood clot? And I said, yes, I had a pulmonary embolism. Oh God, that's all I need to say. So of course they have to do a complete workup to find out if you in fact have a blood clot again. So that's fine. Their method is so bizarre, but it was so funny. So they put you in the waiting room after they've done your vitals and all that, and then they call you back and forth to run tests. Like, they'll do an ECG on your heart, then you go back in the waiting room. Then they'll do blood work, and then you go back in the waiting room. So things like that. So there was like a group of 4 of us in this little waiting room area watching TV, and so I thought, instead of sitting here for hours not talking to anyone, I'm going to start talking to these people. So I talked to this one guy. His name was Daniel, and really young guy. He was the most well-groomed young man I have ever seen. His feet were manicured, his hands were manicured, he smelled yummy, and he was very nice looking. He was probably about 17 or 18. So I said, oh, hi, how long have you been waiting, blah, blah, blah. And he says, yeah, I got here at noon. It's now about 3. And he says, I've had a fever for 3 weeks now. So then this other lady comes in, and she literally looks like she was run over by a tractor. Like, she's got dirt marks all across her chest. Her face is all skinned and, all scratched up, like basically like somebody dragged her on the road. And so she's just sitting there. So we go, how long have you been here? She goes, I got here at 1. And we're like, so kind of what happened to you? And she said, I got hit by a car and I hit my head. We started laughing, all of us, her included, laughing. Like, we're like, should you not be in the back? And shouldn't they be looking at you? Still the dirt on her. It was just so comical. Like, this woman was hit by a car. And we kept saying, well, she was hit by a car, so she should be in there. Well, you could have a blood clot. And he goes, well, I could have who knows what. We were laughing so hard that I'm sure the nurses looked over at us and thinking, well, there's nothing wrong with those people because they're laughing. So beside me, on the other side, is this couple. And I always call them the squeakier wheel type, She's wrapped in a bazillion blankets and doing the moaning and the writhing, and husband is helping her. And I mean, I'm not saying she wasn't sick. I don't want to say that. But when you hear the latter part, you'll understand. So anyway, they bring her in because she's just so unwell. Meanwhile, car accident lady, never did get her name. So funny. She's still sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, she could have like a a brain bleed or something. She hit her head on the road. She said she was in a parking lot. This woman was pulling ahead to park, and then they backed up and hit her, like full speed, hit her. She knocked her 20 feet. She landed on her arm and on her face. Does that not mean emergency? So she said the ambulance came and they were going to take her to another hospital, and she refused the ambulance ride, and so her husband brought her, which is probably her mistake. Like, I'm like, you should have gone in the ambulance because you would have been right in immediately, right? So this just comedy of errors just went on and on and on. Finally, they take me into a bed. I sit down, and then all of a sudden my pants are wet. My entire butt is wet, and I'm thinking, what the hell? Like, what did I sit in? So the nurse said, oh, they just cleaned the bed off, so they sprayed it, with disinfectant, but they didn't dry it. So when I sat down, I sat in this pool of whatever they use. So my entire butt's wet, so it looks like I peed my pants, which I did not. But now they moved me to another part, and I'm walking down the hall with these wet shorts, like, oh my lordy lordy. So my moany, groany lady that was making all the noise and moaning and wrapped in the blankets, and you know, one foot on a banana peel and one in the grave, the one. So we get to the back, and they have all these different, like I said, holding stations. So I'm on the wet bed. They move me on the wet bed. They move me onto this lazy boy chair kind of thing, and it's kind of an intake room. And there's only me and her. Everybody else has been cleared out. So there's just me in one of the kind of lazy boy chairs, and her about 4 lazy boy chairs down. And Richard, I told him to go home because why sit there all day? So this is what I hear. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Crackle, crackle, crackle. As she devoured a large Doritos bag of nacho chips, like not the little singular ones, the biggest one you can think of. She devoured the entire bag, and then at the end of that, she gave out the largest belch I have ever heard. And I'm like, seriously? And car accident lady had to sit out there and wait? She's making all this noise to get in, and then when she gets in, she can eat a whole bag of Doritos? Like, wowzers, Everything was fine, which is great. So what it was is lupus causes inflammation around the lung and the heart and gives you the sensation of all of these things, but there's really nothing wrong, which is great to find out because I'm going away. So it's nice to know my heart and lung are good. So you just kind of, the pain is there, but don't be alarmed, basically, is what they were saying. So I just finished watching Hell's Kitchen, and I'm so happy with the winner, Janelle. I really wanted her to win. I thought she was just so mature and never got frazzled. And Mary was good, but her voice was just a little bit too high all the time. I just couldn't imagine her giving orders like that. I think she was a great cook, but not necessarily a great leader, which is what he needed in his new kitchen. You notice I changed my top because my friend asked me, why are you all wrapped up like that? Why are you all twisted? And I said, it's Vera Wang designer t-shirt that does that. Oh, I thought you were all wrapped up and twisted what you were doing. So yeah, just put on a boring old t-shirt. Happy now, buddy? Well, you were making fun of my top.
You could have worn it.
So after watching Hell's Kitchen, I was really buzzed to start cooking, so I went in the kitchen and I was going to make this really good oatmeal cake. It is so good. It's like a meal in itself. And I thought with Richard working outside so much, he burns off calories unlike myself. He has to eat, poor thing, or he becomes too thin. I know it's a rarity. Have you ever heard of that? He has to eat. With this cake, he can just grab it and eat it, and then he can eat a meal, and he can eat all day long. But at least it's a healthy something to eat. It's so good. So I went to make it, and I pull out the oatmeal. There's no oatmeal. Pull out the butter. There's no butter. I pull out the brown sugar. There's no brown sugar. And I'm like, yeah, we need to hit the grocery store because we don't have anything. Oh, I have a question of the day for you. Or maybe a statement. But basically, it's Mr. Wiener is a wiener for showing his wiener. Well, he is. That's his name.
Why do we have to discuss this?
We're not. I just made a statement. Mr. Wiener is a wiener for showing his wiener.
He's a creep.
Would you vote for him for the mayor of your city?
He's a creep.
He obviously, he said he is a aggressive, horny man.
Okay, I don't want to hear any more.
No, I'm just saying, if that's his focus, you don't want him as the leader of your city.
Get out anytime.
Me?
Yeah.
She's telling me to get out because I said wiener.
Where'd you go in here?
Oh, what a prude. Okay, I'll get out. Bye. So I'm just back from the grocery store. Got my ingredients to make my cake. I was just sampling these cherries. Oh, they're so good. You know when they're really dark? This little old lady was so cute. We were looking at them because they were on sale, and she's like, "You eat one." And I go, "No, you eat one." And she goes, "Go ahead, try one. Go ahead." And I don't like trying fruit anyway without washing it. So I just took one and poked it and tasted the juice. And I said, "It's really, really sweet." I said, "But if I get in trouble, I'm going to tell them you told me to." So she was like peer pressure, but they were good. They're really dark, and you know what they say, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And I've just sort of mixed up a few of the ingredients. So I'm going to take you through this. And this cake is no wimp. This has got tons of sugar, honey, butter, like the whole meal deal. And so it's not low calorie. So I went upstairs to grab my cell phone because my iPad was getting full and I had to empty out some of the video. And there were 2 voice messages on my cell phone saying that I had flowers and they had left them at the neighbors. So I just ran over there just now. I have no idea who these are from. What a surprise. Do you guys remember a while back I made that travel journal for the girl that was going to India? Well, she said, "Jessie said that you weren't feeling well. I hope this brightens your day." Oh my goodness, what a surprise. These are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, how very thoughtful. Look at these. Isn't this pretty? Okay, I still have a permagrin for my flowers. That's just so sweet. So like I was saying, this cake is not for the faint of heart or the weight conscious. This is like a meal in itself. So when you keep that in your head, it's very, very dense, very, very thick. It lasts a long time, much like a fruit cake. So we've got 1 cup of butter in here, 1 cup of honey, and 2 cups of brown sugar mixed all together. So now I'm going to add all the dry ingredients. Oh, sorry, I'm going to add beat the eggs one at a time and add up to this. And I totally forgot that we have a doula postpartum meeting tomorrow. And usually we prepare this DVD of the babies like it's a birth story as we remember it. And yeah, I forgot to do it. So I got to get this thing done. So here's our finished cake. It's glazed with icing sugar and lemon juice. So I'm just going to slice a little piece. It is so dense. It's almost like a bread. Like I call it to the kids muffin cake because it's like, it's dense, 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 and it's like bread. So I'm going to let it still warm. Let Richard have a little taste of this, and he can tell us what he thinks of it.
Delicious.
Is it good? So I haven't made it for a while, so. It's a really good back-to-school thing to have on your counter. So the kids come home, my kids used to come in because they used to have to go for track and field practice and they'd be hungry and I didn't want them to eat junk. So I would make this and they'd have a slice of this and this would hold them over till supper time. So their after-school snack would be this and a glass of water, milk, and whatever else, you know. But at least this was a healthy snack. It is Saturday, July 27th, yes. And I'm just getting ready to go to a postpartum visit with a client. We don't usually do them on Saturdays, but She has become a friend, especially of Deanne's, and her friend that recommended her to us. I was her doula, I think, 9 years ago. So she's going to come too. So that's why I'm going along. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her. Got my makeup on. Don't you hate it though when you are in the midst of doing art journaling, especially? And then I put this auto reminder on our microwave. And it tells me that I have to stop and go and get ready. Ooh, I hate doing that because your hands are dirty and you're in it and you're in the midst of it and then you got to get dressed. Well, I mean, I was dressed, but you know, got to wash all the gesso off your fingers and you know. But it'll be nice to see those people. A person cannot live in the room in the basement. I mean, seriously. Although you guys should see the art cabin. Oh my goodness. I wish it wasn't raining. I'm going to see if I can find a window where I can show you. Okay, Richard's behind the umbrella. There he is. And look at the art cabin already. You guys see? All the walls are up. And the roof trusses, is that what they're called? Trusses? Yeah, are up. So he just put a tarp on there to keep the interior dry. It is so cute. And I love that it's so narrow but high. Do you know what I mean? So when you go inside, you don't get the sense of you're in this little tiny room because we're keeping it open beam. So it is coming along so nicely, and I am so excited, as is Richard, and he's doing so much work on it. Good morning, everybody. It's 8:32 a.m. I've been up since 7:30, which is so not like me. I am not a morning person. But after doing my art journal page yesterday, I've been lying in bed thinking about how I want to try and do that on a canvas. And I'm just so buzzed. So I'm sure I'll fall asleep some other point today, but not right now. I even have my laundry in. I've had a cup of coffee. Percy keeps escaping because it's too early. So let's see where he went this time. Over there. He's like, for the love of God, what is wrong with you? Because we usually sleep until about 10. So I've set up my easel. Haven't used this in ages, and I'm going to try that same collage thing with this easel as I did on my art journal page. So it's now 10:07, and that is my collage, and it's covered with gel medium. So I'm going to let it dry, and I think I'll go back and lie down because I'm a little tired. But I love the way it turned out, so we'll see what we shall see. I'm just heading outside. I had to put my little booties on, not because it's wet, but because I might step on a piece of wood or something. Look at the art cabin. So it's just a little after 7 p.m. We just had supper, and I finished this I'm not finished it, but I finished working on it about an hour ago. I am just freezing. It's like really cold. I mean freezing. Like I'm upstairs with the fireplace on. So I am going to close our weekend vlog here. I found some more people in my collage. Don't know how, don't know why. If you look really closely, you can see all the texture. Like that dark piece there is a piece of paper. Whoops, I don't want to knock it down. And it's just so bumpy and textury. But I saw these two people, and then the song came into mind, Summertime, you know, fish are jumping and the cotton is high. And so I'm still not done. I got to make my cotton a little higher, and they're a husband and wife, and she's got her do-rag on, and he's got his fish, and she's got a basket with cotton in it. And I really like how it turned out. I'm really having so much fun with these. They are really a lot of fun. I think the fun part is because they are not realistic and they're more folk art, they don't have to be perfectly aesthetically balanced because it's folk art. And I am just loving doing these. You see the birds up here, the crows and the trees, and then you dabble on top of them. Percy, seriously. His chains are dragging, his collar's dragging on the floor. But yeah, and you're putting rub-ons on and just all kinds of stuff on top of stuff. But I'm not quite done, almost done. So yeah, that's what I did today, listening to some really cool music. So I hope you guys have an awesome week. Thanks so much for joining us in our vlog. And we'll see you next time. Bye.